Well, lo and behold, Canon has finally brought its entry-level full-frame camera to market, the 6D, long awaited, joining the 5D Mark III and the 1DX as their flagship and pro lineup. Actually, they include the EOS M in the pro lineup as well. But for full frame, this is the third one in the range. And, you know, obviously people were hoping and praying that it was going to be basically a 5D3 with a resolution cut and slightly cramped on features to bring the price down significantly. But it's got a bit of bad press from some people that say it's just a 7D counterpart with DX build quality and features, but with an FX sensor jammed into it. So is that true? And if it is, does it matter? Is it a bad thing? Let's have a look. Okay, off the bat, this does have all the bells and whistles you would expect for a fairly expensive DSLR. It's got dust reduction built in. It'll do full HD video at 30 frames a second or 1280 up to 60 frames a second. It has mic input. It's 20 megapixels. It does small, medium and large RAW options like Canon likes to offer. It's got a kind of electronic level. It'll do +5, -5 of exposure compensation, which is great. It's also got built-in Wi-Fi and GPS, which a lot of people weren't expecting or necessarily wanting, but there you go, it's there. It's got a 1 million pixel 3-inch screen, ISO range of 100 to 25,600, and you can boost that to 50 and then up to 102,400, which is class leading for this price point. But there's several ways that this is definitely not a top tier Canon camera, and that it's lagging behind its FX counterparts, even in some respects behind the 7D, which is their top of the line DX camera at the moment, which is like 4 years old. Some of the things. Well, it's only got a single SD card slot, not the faster compact flash that even the 7D had, although to be fair, that was more of a standard back when the 7D came out. But still, this only has the single card, which is the only of their full frame cameras to not have double card. The maximum shutter speed is 1/4000th of a second and the flash sync speed is 1/180th. Now, for some people that won't matter too much, but if you're doing off-camera flash work or a lot of flash work, Canon's 1/200th of a second is kind of behind the game anyway, so this one to only be 1/180th is a surprise. Whilst this has the full HD video options and a great mic input, and Canon are renowned for their fantastic video, this doesn't have a headphone port, which signals again that this isn't aimed for serious video work, where having the headphone port to be able to monitor it really is a big issue. Big thing, only 11 focus points on this guy, and only one of those points is cross-type. One. Are you fucking kidding me? That's like, I don't know, that's entry-level stuff. The 7D has 19 sensors and they're all cross-type, so 19 versus 1. I know it's not a sports camera, but come on. It also only has 97% viewfinder coverage, which for me, I think is a big issue. Some people may not notice it again, but if you're framing on the LCD screen, you get 100%. Through the viewfinder, you're only getting 97%. So things that you think you may have cropped out are going to jump back into frame because it's not matching exactly what the sensor's seeing. And finally, this has, whilst it is nice and rugged in the hand, it does have a partial plastic chassis. It's not all magnesium alloy in the same way that the 5D Mark III is. This has, the front and back of this are metal, but the other parts of it are made from a fancy pants type of plastic. Look, you can't step away from the fact that this is kind of, well, it's the entry level to the FX market. It's not entry level as in, to the whole market, but as in FX, it is the cheapest by far in the Canon range. In terms of build quality, considering it's part plastic and it is cheaper than the 5D and yada, 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 I actually think the build quality and handling is really nice. Comparing this to the 5D Mark II that I've shot quite a bit with, I find this a lot more comfortable in the hand. It's got a really nicely well recessed grip, which is good. I have big hands, but I would have no problem using this all day. The button layout is nice and easy, and the buttons, I know it may sound a little bit funny, but they have a nice amount of resistance and a really nice quality feel to them. Again, all of the dials have a good quality to them, except for the back rotating one. It feels a bit cheap, plasticky. Now, whilst it does only have 11 focus points and only one of them, still can't get over that, is cross-type, using a decent lens like this new 24-70, focus is really snappy. I would say for general use, it's going to be just fine. Obviously, it just came out in the last month, so it has the latest generation of focus technology, even though it doesn't have too many points. So they are quite effective in being able to find the contrast and the points of focus and lock onto them. I didn't really get any missed focus shots when I was just taking shots of stationary things or slow moving things. That said, I don't know that you would want to be using this for sports. With only one cross type and all of the focus points grouped right in the center of the screen, you're going to have trouble tracking things unless they stay within that limited zone. I will be doing a tracking test comparing this one to the Nikon D600 in a later video, so you can click through on the link there to see that one. Look, at 4.5 frames per second, I also think this is fast enough for just about every day-to-day purpose other than sports. You know, you'll be able to get most things at 4.5 frames without having to worry about it moving out of frame or you missing the shot. It's also really nice and responsive. You know, from the time you push the button, it catches focus and takes the shot. All happens really, really quickly, which is important. You may have 10 frames a second, but if it doesn't lock on or respond to your touch quickly, then that's an issue. This doesn't have that problem, thankfully. So handling, ergonomics, and specs, they are what they are. I think the handling and ergonomics are really nice, but it comes down to the image quality at the end of the day. If you're going to, you know, you're looking to make the leap to FX, one of the reasons a lot of people want to do that, apart from regaining their wides, if you've been missing that wide angle work by using a narrower DX format field of view, is improved image quality. So let's actually do a couple of tests here. I'll go grab Tina, we'll take some test shots and some test video and see how it fares.
Okay, as we start off with the base ISO, no surprises. It all looks beautiful, crisp and clean. It's really punchy and it didn't matter what difficult lighting situations there were, it just handled it. Now as we move up through the ISOs, 800, 1600, 3200, it's all clean as a whisker. We go in at 6400 and it's still looking really nice and tight. At 12,800, starting to get a bit artifacty and a little bit of color noise there in the greens especially. And at 25,600, it is, you know, really showing up there, but you would expect it to. In terms of tracking, these are two of the better ones. It did struggle tracking with so few focus points, but considering what it had, I thought it was an okay performance.
Okay, so what can you say? It's obvious that Canon has gone for what I refer to as social recorders point in the market. Rather than being for, you know, serious enthusiasts who are looking for the most rugged build quality, the extra card options, the headphone port, that kind of thing, by including Wi-Fi and GPS, I think they're making a pretty clear statement that this is for people who are living in a connected kind of era who want great quality of images but want to have those more whiz-bang kind of features rather than the bread and butter ones of, for example, a second memory card. The fact that it has the GPS and Wi-Fi, if that's something you wanted, that's great because it saves you hundreds and hundreds of dollars of having to get an external unit for each one to then add on to it. And the fact that it's all in one body is great. This, I think, would be an ideal if you're a serious photographer and you're going on holidays and you don't want to carry something too heavy, but you want to stay full frame. This is going to be great. Having the GPS tagging and all of those kind of options is fantastic. And for a lot of people, I think the fact that it's full frame is going to be enough. The image quality is great. The video quality, it's a shame about the headphone port, but the image quality itself is really nice. The responsiveness is good. If you're not shooting sports, if you don't need the double backup, if you don't need, you know, the extra ruggedness that a full magnesium alloy body gives you, then, you know, you get what you pay for, and I think this is a really nice stepping point. However, if you were after those features and you don't give a crap about GPS and Wi-Fi, then sure, I can see how this would be a bit of a disappointment. I'm going to compare this one to the Canon 5D Mark III and see how they fare head to head. So once that one's live, there'll be a link in the caption below. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, share it with anyone you think might be interested, and I'll see you soon for more photo news and reviews.
Hey guys, whilst you're here, you might like to check out my Take Control of the Light workshop tour, a comparison of the 600 and 1100D, my tutorial on long exposure photography, and on storytelling photography with Tina. Thanks!